Hey, Shawn Clement here from the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center. Couple of things, a couple of misconceptions that I want to get through, okay? A few of you have been writing in and have noticed that, hey, you know, during your swing, your head's bopping up and down. And, you know, during your swing, you're doing this or doing that. And many of you have preconceived ideas of what the golf swing should be and where the position should go, all that stuff. Well, let's look at it another way. Let's just pretend that everything's okay. Anything you do in the golf swing is fine. And let's look at what the main focus is. Effortless, powerful momentum to a target, right? You're trying to swing in the direction of a target and the ball gets in the way. You have a freight train going from town A to town B, and some poor guy stalls his car onto the tracks. He gets out of his car on time, thankfully, and the train is still going to town B. Well, the car's going to go with the train. The train's not going to stop at the car, okay? So that golf ball is your poor little car on the tracks, and this is your freight train from the shoulders through the arms into the club head, heading over to the next town, which is your target, okay? So momentum over there, not over here toward the ball. So if we look at the transition in the swing, one of the particular aspects that people have been noticing is the head bopping up and down. So when I go into my backswing, you'll notice that I am not raising my chest per se. I am allowing the body to get out of the way. And in allowing the body to get out of the way of the swing of the arms, this right leg, the right knee, is going to need to extend a little bit, okay? I'm not saying that it's going to hyperextend, because a hyperextended leg will lose its juice. The right leg does extend a little bit, so it's important to start with a certain amount of knee flex so that when you turn, notice how the leg extends a little bit. So it's taking the energy that's moving into the right side and redirecting it back into the left side, so I don't get stuck on the right side and then having to push off the right side. I'm just going to bounce off the right side and then fall back into the left. And you'll see my head go up and then back down into the left side. So if you go to my YouTube analogies page, first subject is the bilateral golf swing, okay? Now the bilateral golf swing, you'll notice when we're walking as human beings, we don't walk like this, right? There's a certain bounce to the step, right? We're not walking this way either. So we don't want to hyperextend up and down. So there's a natural flow to it. That natural flow you don't think about. You don't think about driving your car, right? The most annoying thing when driving a car is having somebody in the back seat telling you all the things you need to do to shift and to press and to turn and all this stuff. You want to leave him back at the house, okay? So when I swing the club back and through without stopping, watch the natural flow. You see my head bopping up and down, right? So what? No big deal. Notice I'm skipping the turf every time. And every time I'm skipping the turf at exactly the same place. So where's the problem now? Okay? Now, you'll notice I'm going to be putting in a little clip of my son and I skiing over the weekend. And you'll see the same thing in the skiing motion. There's a plant, extend, pivot, refocus, right? So you'll see that nice bounce and extend. And if you just look at somebody walking down the street, you're going to see a nice flow to it, okay? So it's So it's another solid contact, very solid in balance, okay? So have a look at that, and you'll notice also this will answer the question as to should the right knee stay flexed in the backswing or not. Well, if I keep the same flex in my right knee in the backswing, the right side will tend to absorb my backswing motion. And if it absorbs the backswing motion, I get stuck. So now I'm stuck over on this side. Being in a skiing analogy, you'll see if you're watching some snowboarding in the half pipe. If I'm going into the backswing, right, I'm going up the wall of the half pipe, falling back, and then returning up the other wall, falling back. So I never want to feel like I'm getting on top of the sides, on top of the ledges on both sides. So I'm bouncing from one side to the next in perpetuity, right? I hope I said that well. So if I'm swinging the club back and through without stopping, I have a kid on a swing, toss him back, let him fall. Well, if the child is at the right height and he's got too short of legs to stop himself, there's a perpetual nature to this. He can't stop. So there's a beautiful pause in both directions, right? Same thing here. Feel like there's no way you can get stuck on either leg. There's the perpetual nature that you want to feel into the golf swing. If you allow that right knee to bend too much, or you're trying to keep it bent, your focus is where it shouldn't be. You can't flow from a position like that or from a thought like that. You can't flow trying to keep your head in the same place. It's restricting all your movements. It's wiping out any kind of rhythm and flow that you may have. And that instinct is now turned off, and you're in a bad position. So allow the flow to happen. Fall, fall, fall. Fall. And whatever the instincts of your body tell you to do, allow it to. You will not tend to hyperextend your leg when that happens. If you're trying to keep your head down and not move your head, you'll tend to do certain things like that. Your instincts are turned off, or your manipulation is turned on, and compensations are turned on in accordance to the thought process that you have, okay? So turn off the thinking, flow some nice momentum to a target, and feel like you're in perpetual motion. Feel like this thing, right, is part of you, and you're swinging from the shoulders down to the club head, like the elephant's trunk. You'll see that in the bilateral motion. Look at my buddy Dumbo, Dumbo the elephant, allowing his trunk to swing in both directions. It's a very natural thing. So enjoy that. Let me know if you have questions.